Good morning, it's Ayya Vimala on a very hot Sunday morning here in Crystal Lake. It's so hot that this morning I just opened my patio door and threw peanuts out under the tree where the squirrels were waiting for them. I thought I'll just wait till a little later to get out and check all their bowls. So I see you watching, Allison, and I'm thinking, 100 degrees, what are they talking about hot? You're in Las Vegas, so it's good to be with you, and it's good to see so many people who just keep watching and getting something out of this time together. And it certainly is wonderful for me, whether anyone's watching or not, but it's lovely to see that there are people watching, and I'm hoping that it's helpful for you. And if you ever have any questions or there's anything I can do more to help you, let me know. Reach out, okay? This Sunday morning, we're still in this, I'm seeing more articles and listening to people being interviewed talking more about what a difficult time this is, because there's so much confusion about all the rules, and confusion because one area has, restaurants are opening and another they're closed, and it's hard to know. We're looking in all kinds of places. This morning I was listening to an interview with someone whose husband fell and she needed to take him somewhere, but she didn't know if she could go to a hospital. She didn't know what was the safest thing to do for him. And she had to finally call a friend of hers who was more of an expert and who could help her calculate her risk. Keep him at home, call or go to an emergency room, and how to do that and keep him safe. And I've been feeling that's going on for quite a while, so it's nice to hear that people are talking more about that, and we're recognizing we're confused. This is appropriate doubt, right? This confusion is appropriate because the leadership that we have, and the good leaders and the not so good leaders, are confused as well. So hopefully all of you are dealing with that where you live, being as safe. The thing that we know, if we're students of the Buddhist teachings, is to do no harm. So to not hurt yourself and to not harm others. And to be doing everything with loving kindness. So anger is not the way to go, and cruelty is not the way to go. So we always can make decisions just to an extent based on those two. Don't do anything if you think there's a possibility of it endangering you or anyone else, whether you know who they are or not. And don't do things out of anger. Otherwise, we've got to be very careful who we're listening to get our advice from about the pandemic that's still going on all over the world. So just remember who you are, and remember your good resolve while you're on this path. And for anyone who's on a spiritual path, we choose love over anger, over hate, and we choose non-harm over cruelty of any kind. So that at least gives us that to hold on to, right? And having wise friends, if there's any dilemma, having wise friends to talk it out with. And those friends don't have to be a Buddhist or a Buddhist teacher. They can be you know who your wise friends are, right? And don't pick the friends who will give you the answer you want to have necessarily, but pick your wise friends. So, and then try to be content. I use the word contentment more now than happiness, because true happiness is that deep sense of contentment, that we can be content regardless of the conditions outside of us, because that contentment comes from that a deeper place inside. We've confused happiness with getting the things we want and being entertained and never being bored. And I think contentment is a much more, if we start looking at it like that, we can find that contentment contains everything we want when we think about happiness. So, feeling content, we can still feel great joy and delight, and we can feel true happiness. It's not about getting excited and adding toys to the toy chest. So I hope all of you are being safe today in regards to the heat, if you're in my climate zone. And if it's nighttime where you are, I hope you're cooling down with a cool breeze, and your part of the world is safe, and you're content with whatever it is. So let me read my wish. I think I've got it down now, but I'm trying to be very careful. Okay, and if you know the words, please say this with me. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with an ocean to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a lamp for those without light, a place of refuge for those who lack safety, and a servant to all in need. By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the unwise, only the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. So that should help with a good start to put us outside of ourselves and our own, beyond our egos, beyond feeling like everything is happening to you. Everything is happening to everybody and every place and every level. So that might make us cheer up a little bit to know that we're not alone, and we can always find a way to help. So, and there'll be people wanting to help us. So why don't we sit more today, and we can actually do some metta and then just sit with our breath. And when we're working with mindfulness and sitting, we work with our body. That's why we often do body scans, and we're always wanting to see, we're always needing, when we begin to meditate, checking in with our bodies. And sometimes our bodies can tell us the truth when our mind is wanting things to be different. We can see how we feel. We can see, as we become more and more familiar with our bodies, we can see where we hold in tension and stress and pain. And we can see those spots and what they need. So those are our first clues. And we can be with our body and work with our body that way in our meditation. And that can take us very far. We have to just experience as we allow our body to breathe for us. We need to be able to run through our body, scan through our body, and let it talk to us, tell us what it needs, tell us what we need, tell us more about the emotional state we're in. And then we look at our thoughts, we look at our feelings, we allow them. Again, while our attention is lightly focused on the breath, we allow those thoughts to rise, and we face them. We don't try to hide from them. We don't cave into them. What we're doing is looking at them. We're allowing them to come out of the dark. They're much more powerful when we keep our feelings in the dark. when we begin to feel our bodies and feel where we're holding things in our bodies, then we can begin to just investigate and look and be aware of those feelings. And those physical feelings reveal emotions going on that we're trying to hold down with our bodies. And then we can begin to look at those while we're meditating. We don't get caught up in a mental rehashing of what we think it is or what we've told ourselves about these feelings. We let it become more of being aware of the presence of this within us, and not trying to think, but trying to be aware of it, to welcome the unwelcome when we feel like we're ready to deal with it. And we can learn ways, and rain is one of them. Recognize, accept, investigate, and then nurture yourself and return to a more neutral position. We can have those kind of sessions to help us work with the things that we're uncovering. So we're trying to look at things as an investigator, not prejudging, not making thoughts that take us away from what's actually going on. We look at it, we accept it. Okay, this is how I'm feeling. I felt this way a long time. I didn't want to feel it. And now let's look at it. Let's look at it from different perspectives, from different points of view. Like looking at a statue or a painting in a museum, finding those different aspects of it. And then we need to back off a little bit and say, okay, that's enough for now. So that's how we can work with our emotions. Then we can start working with those thoughts. We can see the kind of thought patterns that we carry with us all the time. When we're watching our thoughts, we're just watching the pattern of the kind of thoughts we're having. And if you can do that without getting caught up and distracted by those thoughts, we can begin to just gently label those thoughts. Are a lot of my thoughts about anger? Are they about greed, desire? Are they about anger, hatred, irritation? Are they thoughts about, oh, I just want to go back to bed, I'm too tired, I don't want to do this anymore? So are they thoughts of that that are more lethargic and sleepy and not awake? Are they thoughts of a kind of overactivity? So are you anxious? Are you worried? Are you running around trying to scatter your attention in lots of different places? And then are you full of doubt? Those are what we call the 5 hindrances, but they take in, those are really good categories that you can use when you're paying attention to yourself as you meditate. We're just trying to have that awareness that's not getting us off into daydreaming or into thinking, but into just paying attention to all these different parts of this physical body. So when our thoughts, our mind and our heart are creating all these thoughts that we try to just let flow through, when we can begin just paying attention to the quality of those thoughts. If we're not aware of the current quality of the way we think, we don't know what it is we're looking at that we might want to start working with those thoughts. Try to have thoughts that are better for us and that are more skillful. We call that more skillful and more wholesome. But if we're not clear about what we are working with that's unskillful and unwholesome, then we're not ever working. We don't know what we're working with. It's kind of like being confused about the rules. If we don't know what the situation is, if we don't know what we need to be being safe from, then we're kind of lost in grabbing at straws. So that's the same way that's the same way we're working with ourselves. And then let your meditation be more spacious. Don't force any of those things. And if you just need to feel like I'm just with my breath, that's perfectly okay. Most of the process of meditation will come to you naturally if you're not trying to make it go a certain way. If you're trying to just allow yourself to be with your breath, I think you don't need to get confused about any rules, right? People have been doing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And so it obviously works on lots of different levels. So don't be worried about whether you're doing it right or not. As long as you allow yourself to be open and to just let go of as much as you can. Let go of getting sidetracked by thoughts or your planning or thinking about mistakes you've made or thinking about things you're planning for the future. Just be with your breath, be with yourself, and the right things happen. So now I've made our time shorter. So let's do the mindfulness breathing practice today, and at the end we'll do my wish again, and we might throw in a word or two of metta. I think all of you can practice metta on your own and do it anytime. Just keep sending thoughts of kindness and thoughts of goodwill. Okay, so you know the position where you can feel awake and where you can feel, let your spine lengthen even if you're on the floor, on your back, but feel your spine lengthening. I think that helps us breathe, and it also helps us stay awake because our body's more awake that way. Gently close your eyes if you can. Just let your focus, your attention be on your body breathing you. We're breathing oxygen in and allowing it to get down into our lungs. So feel your belly. Let your shoulders drop. If you're feeling your breath, just only up in your upper chest. Just relax and let go. We need to get that oxygen down to the bottom of our lungs, but let your body do it. It'll do it if you can relax. Let go of the tension. Right now, everything is okay. Everything is fine. If you need to take a few deep breaths in and out to begin, do that. That can help you become more centered, more present in your body. If you feel like you're kind of flying around the room, you can use just a few deep breaths. You don't want to hyperventilate, but just enough to bring you into your body, help you feel. That's what we call feeling grounded or being centered. Then come back to your natural breath. If you can, in and out through your nostrils. We're not repressing anything. We're not repressing our thoughts. We're just choosing to not feed our thoughts with our attention. Our attention is very lightly resting on our breath. The thoughts are coming and going. Now, if you feel content and comfortable, you can just stay with your breath. Or you can begin to just be aware of the fleeting thoughts, as they're coming into your mind. If something pops up that you notice as one of your habitual thought patterns, you know what they are. You don't need to get caught up in it. Are your thoughts about, oh, I forgot to do this, I forgot to do that? Are they about, I'm so busy today, I shouldn't be sitting here? Those are thoughts about worry and remorse. Those are those anxious, busy thoughts. And if closing your eyes and becoming quiet makes you feel sleepy, tired, you just think maybe what I really need is a nap right now. That's probably those thoughts of lethargy and lack of energy. It may not be drowsiness at all. It's a kind of lethargy that we may carry around with us a lot. And if we're thinking of things that we want, oh, I'd love to have a good meal when we're finished with this. Or what restaurant should we go to? Or what shall we cook? Or what can we do today? What do we want to do to have fun? Those are those thoughts of greed, of sensual delight. So just notice the texture of the thoughts. Don't get into trying to have a dialogue with your thoughts. You know them well enough, those patterns. You're just becoming a little bit more openly aware of these thoughts. Just be the observer. Now just come back to your breath. You may want to go back to this practice later, but we'll come back and do a few minutes of metta. So That's a sampling of working with your thoughts. We're just becoming more aware of, we know that we repeat the same thought habits over and over. And sometimes we're not aware of what they are until we start to pay attention to them. Let's do some metta. So when we practice metta, we're visualizing. So we're actually we're having thoughts. We're working with thoughts, and we're working with. This is one way we work with our thoughts to purify, to have a mind that's more wholesome, more pure, because we're purifying our own thoughts of anger and the opposite of goodwill. And we're trying to purify our minds so that we see all others as being those beings that we always are connected to, and that we can always send metta to, and that we would never want to harm. So we're getting rid of ideas of cruelty, revenge, war, death to others. We're purifying ourselves from those kind of qualities that are there lurking. Sometimes we don't know it until we get so angry, and then that's when someone says, "Oh, I wish that person were dead." We don't want to even have those kind of, the possibility of those kind of thoughts eventually. So let's work with some metta. So close your eyes and send good thoughts, good feelings and good thoughts to yourself. May I be well. May I feel safe in this world of COVID, in this world of uncertainty. May I be content, and may I be at peace. Truly take this into your heart. And extend these same thoughts out to your loved ones. May my family members, my dear friends who are my extended family, my pets may be in this, the animals who support me and nurture me. May all of my loved ones be free from suffering and the conditions of suffering, free from harm. May they all be well. May they all be safe and feel safe in this uncertain world. May my loved ones be content, and may they all be at peace. And then continue extending these same feelings now out to your community, the community of your choice. Let's let it be the community of the country we live in. That's our neighborhood. This community is full of all kinds of beings. Beings who are our loved ones, beings who are acquaintances, who are strangers, beings who are enemies. beings who are difficult people, are challenging people, and beings to strangers, and all manner of non-human beings. And our country is so full now of people being born as well as people dying. So may all beings, human and non-human, in my country, may they be well. May they feel safe. May they be able to find contentment. And may they live at peace. And now just radiate out those same feelings to the entire planet and beyond. Radiate out this quality of metta and compassion to an infinite degree. There's no end. There's no beginning. There's no end. Just feel yourself radiating and being in the midst of it all. Let all of the thoughts that you send out be of kindness, of goodwill, of compassion, and realize that they have an infinite trajectory. There's no end. No one is excluded. No being is excluded. No part of this earth or space is excluded. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, all humans and non-humans and all creatures throughout the universe. May they be free from fear and worry and anxiety, free from hunger and thirst and the extremes of the weather. May all beings be able to care for themselves or be cared for lovingly by others. And may all beings everywhere live in peace. And I'll read my wish again, so just sit with your silence and your mind and your heart open. May I become at all times, both now and forever, a protector for those without protection, a guide for those who have lost their way, a ship for those with an ocean to cross, a sanctuary for those in danger, a place of refuge for those who lack shelter, a lamp for those without light, and a servant to all in need. By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the unwise, only the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. So keep sitting if you can. I'll leave you now and be content today, be happy, find some joy in the little tiny things, and you'll see that it's all there. Have a beautiful day, and thank you. See you Tuesday. Bye-bye. Keep sitting if you can.